This video was produced by The Top Cut. Be sure to check out thetopcut.net, your home for Pokemon TCG, tournament coverage, professional game analysis, and interviews with the best players in the world. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, this is Pram, and welcome to the finals of the Delaware State Championships. So we're in for a matchup that you guys have most likely never seen before. It is Zekrom Eelektrik, piloted by Stephan Robinson on our left, and he is playing versus Zekrom Eelektrik, piloted by Ben Sauk on our right. This is a mirror match, and you guys are in for a treat here. So, Stephan is going first, gets a dual ball. At least one heads. It looks like he got a second one. So he's going to get a couple Dynamos from here, already attached to the Zekrom EX that he started with. It looks like he double dual balled and got 3 heads. So good on him. And he looks, his hand, I think it had a bunch of evolutions and a Juniper, so he might be thinking about waiting a turn. And it just looks like he just got 4 heads. Whew! What a monster! Someone is like, "Hey, this is gonna be my tournament to win. I have 4 dual ball heads. Game 1. What can go wrong?" Ben just sitting there, hasn't drawn a card yet. And yeah, we'll just see 3 Dynamos come down. And it looks like his hand, he probably just want to keeps it for now and just pass. Yep. So Ben's turn. I did see a Zapdos in Stephan's hand. Not really a good card for a mirror match, but it's decent for other things. So we are going to see a collector version of the deck versus the dual ball version. So Ben having the collector turn 1 is pretty huge. It really depends on if he has a way to get Zekrom out of the active spot. Will depend on what he does this turn, or rather what he searches with collector. If he has a switch, he'll probably get like 2 Dynamos and a Thundurus. But if he has no switch, he might just settle for 3 Dynamos. We'll see. Oh, so he gets 2 Dynamos and a Tyrogue. And if he has a catcher or and a switch or DCE, then he'll definitely be able to just start taking prizes. However, he must know that Stephan does have the Tyrogue counter knockout if he flips heads. So this will be quite interesting to see how this matchup plays out. Oh, he even has a Thundurus to go with this. So we do see a DCE coming down on the Zekrom. And I see an Eviolite, some draw, but nothing too strong. Just gonna outrage for 20 and just see what Stephan does. And Stephan draws Thundurus. Has the Eel, and now is just gonna Juniper. Yep. Let's see what he gets. Nothing too impressive, just some draw cards and lightning energies. But he will be able to start powering up his Thundurus while giving energy to Zekrom EX. Maybe next turn he'll draw a DCE and just do Strong Volt turn 3. Still pretty strong. It looks like that's just a pass for him. Yep. Now Ben is looking for some pressure here. He might be thinking, I should get some catchers. I'll throw down Tyrogue and I'll just try and start running away with this game. Oh, it's even Tyrogue Eviolite. That's one of my favorite combos because you can knock out their Dynamos and your Tyrogue can't be knocked out. It's really quite lovely. So let's see what Ben draws off this Pont. He's gonna need a catcher here, though. Yeah, he's definitely gonna want a catcher because he must think that Stephan the possibility of a Strong Volt coming down next turn is there. At the very least, he'll get Glinting Clawed. So he's probably going to be losing a prize next turn, so he definitely wants to take the initiative and start taking prizes himself before Stephan can get going. It just all depends on whether Ben has a catcher. Well, let's see. Does he have it? Who knows? So, yep. He does have lightning energy at least, so he will be able to attach this turn. Probably to the Thunderous. Yeah, attaches the Thunderous. So that's... Okay, so he just outrages. And now he's like, okay, you're going to need a DCE to knock me out. To which Stephan's like, sure, let me just go shuffle my hand in and draw a new 6. If I get the DC, I will definitely take that knockout. Also, if Stephan hits a lightning and catcher, he'll be able to knock out a Dynamo, which is actually more important than knocking out that Zekrom in this stage of the game. So Stephan will be hitting neither. But he does get another Eelektrik, which is important. However, his board position is not so hot. Or rather, his prize conditions are not so hot. It is nice that he will be able to get out another Eelektrik. What he might want to do in this situation then is just simply retreat Zekrom here for the Thunderous, and then start charging with it while double dynamotoring back the energies to Zekrom. So he just goes for the Glinting Claw. Now Ben's going to be able to go, okay, you only have 140 health left. Can I knock you out? Probably not. But he might consider this will give him another turn to catch or something and try to set up that way. Let's see what he does here. Both players, this is the finals, so both players are playing very carefully. You never want to make a mistake during the finals of an event. So it's always better to just, take your time, think out your moves, don't play too fast, and just kind of double check everything you do, because you never want to slip up, you never want to make that mistake that costs you the tournament. Because believe me, your opponent will be perfectly happy to let you blow your tournament away by playing too fast and making mistakes. So, our first eel comes down for Ben, and what will he do here? Maybe, I think just an outrage would be sufficient. So yeah, we do see an outrage for 70 this time. And Stephan is in terrible shape. That Zekrom is going to go down pretty quickly. But he does have 3 eels, so this could go down to N. I would have liked to see Stephan last turn if he was just planning a strong volt anyways. Just simply do nothing. There's no real reason to do strong volt and add on that extra damage. It would have been much better for Stephan to just to go, hey, I'm going to make this as hard as possible for you to take a prize. So, but we do see Stephan in superior board position, and he will be taking the first prize this turn. However, he does kind of want to get a catcher here. If he can get catcher and knock out that Eelektrik, he'll be in fantastic shape. Looks like he didn't get anything. No catchers. So no catchers from either player. And it's just going to be a strong volt. So Ben sending up Tyro, getting 2 Eelektriks out. So now both board position wise, they're both pretty much on equal footing. Ben will need to do 70 more damage to that Zekrom EX if he wants to knock it out. However, because he has no lightning in the discard, that could be difficult. He did play a plus power, which is odd. I mean, like, if you get the energy to attack with Thunderous, I much would have rather seen it just attacking Zekrom EX, taking the 2 prizes. No need to let Zekrom take more prizes than it already has. I did see a junk arm and maybe a couple lightning. Oh, so I think he will have a knockout this turn. It looks like it is pretty fortunate that he did play that plus power down because of junk arm. He actually, I don't think he had any trainers in his discard. So yeah, good on Ben. I didn't really realize he had no trainers, so that really opened up the junk arm route. So Ben really thinking this matchup through. And Stephan now has Tyrogue active and a Zekrom on the bench. But he now has many energies in his discard, so you're going to see Stephan start rolling on through with a bunch of energies. So he's going to go with a Bolt Strike this turn. Would like to see an N here, kind of tone Ben's hand down, back to size. And, we're just going to see just a Bolt Strike. So it looks like Stephan's hand isn't too strong. I mean, it has a good amount of stuff, but not tactically strong. It's just kind of like, hey, I have a bunch of stuff, I'm going to try and overrun you. Which is good in its own right, but I would have liked, ideally he would have had N here. Which is going to leave Ben the opening to use a Bolt Strike of his own. And because he is up on prizes, he will be able to start moseying on through Stephan's attackers. So we're going to see maybe another... Alright, so there's a second Thunderous and an N. So both players going down to 4, but Ben will soon be going down to 3. I think Ben is in the lead here. He knocked out that EX, which is pretty huge. He may have lost the first prize, but he went ahead on the prize trade race. So, he's just going to need enough attackers to eke him through the game and just prepare for N Mewtwo, which is really what Stephan's position is probably going to end up being. So we do see another Bolt Strike. And now it's coming down to how does Stephan respond to this? It looks like he has a plus power, so he will be able to get a knockout with Disaster Volt here, which is pretty huge. And he has a Pont to go with it. So now it just comes down to both players are going to be at 3-3. Will Ben have a response to that Thunderous? There is the Tyrogue on Stephan's field, so at any point Ben can take a prize given that he gets a catcher. And Stephan really can't drop Mewtwo down until Ben goes down to 1. It would just be simply too dangerous. And Ben being at 1 works much better with his Mewtwo N option. Ben being at 2. So he can give up 2 more prizes before he goes, oh wow, I'm in trouble. So we do see a disaster volt coming in. And yeah, now it's tied up 3-3. Huh. I wonder if either player has drawn catcher yet. I don't see a catcher on Stephan's side. Maybe Ben is a little bit more fortunate. Well, let's see what Ben does. I did see a full art end, so he will be able... Okay, and a normal art end. I thought I saw a full art end, but maybe he plays both, which would be weird. Usually players like to stick to one art or the other, but I do know Ben hasn't been testing as often, so maybe he just kind of got whatever people gave him. He was just like, hey, I have nothing to play today, maybe. Or maybe it was like that, and then they were just like, hey, yeah, don't worry, I got you covered. Here's a extra Eels deck that I put together with all my extra cards, no problem. And that, yeah, would be pretty plausible. And both players drawing 3 cards. Still no catcher from either player, though. Yeah. Ben is in a pretty tough spot here. Really wanted the catcher to go up to 2 prizes. He might just have to use Disaster Volt here and just swing into a Thunderous, which would be fine. It's not like Stephan has any complex response to that either. Though it would be... Okay, yeah, so he is going to do that. I was about to say, it would be kind of sick if Ben just dropped 2 Mewtwo's and was like, yeah, knock out your Mewtwo. Or knock out your Thunderous. And then just like, knocked out. And then he was also like, well, if you knock out my Mewtwo with your Mewtwo, I have a Mewtwo waiting in the wings. But it's good to see no one plays Mewtwo yet. They kind of know the dangers of it. And, yeah. So you're just going to see Stephan retreat and just re-swing into Ben's Thunderous and just forcing Ben to have something. Now that Tyrogue could actually go quite a ways. There's 2 Tyrogue targets now on Stephan's side, so maybe even 3 if Ben commits another Disaster Volt here. That would be something if Tyrogue just went all the way. Alright, let's see what Ben does. And he drops down another Thunderous. But the question is, does he have an energy to power it up? He doesn't even have enough lightnings to power it up yet. And it's this card. He has the 1. And is he going for just a straight up charge? Yes, he is. Yeah, you might as well Dynamotor that second energy back, I get. But he chooses not to. And just thinning his deck, he's just like, yeah, I need some energies. I need it right now. So, let's see. Stephan is actually holding a pretty dominant position right now. If he has an energy to go with this... Oh, but he does have an end, so that's the one card he doesn't wanna play down right now. Yeah, so he gets a gear. He's like, yeah, give me something other than end, please. He knows his opponent isn't drawing well, so he's just like, yeah, oh, next card was catcher too. So he just gets a Juniper without even looking for the Pont. I feel like Pont would have been good here, better than Juniper, but hey, why use Pont when you can use Juniper? And yep, there's the Juniper. Will he draw the catcher finally? This must be some kind of sick cruel game on Stephan. Still no catcher. He's gone through probably over half his deck by now, so all four still hiding from him. Not really sure what he can junk arm here for. His bench is pretty full, and so maybe, and he wants to leave the gear in there for later. I think you just. So he's powering up some Eelektrik for just because he can. Might as well, I guess. So Stephan is probably going to use Disaster Volt here. Yep, there it is. And now the pressure is on Ben's side. Can he draw something to get like anything going? Really, he just needs anything, like a catcher, a supporter, something. I think his hand's Mewtwo, Lightning, and Plus Power. So if he wanted to, he could get Mewtwo out. There's Mewtwo. And there's a DCE? I think that's DCE. That might be a Lightning. So he's just going to X-Ball here for 80. Yep, 80 damage. And his last card in hand is a Plus Power. So this looks great for Stephan. There's nothing really Ben can do at this point. Stephan can just hit the Mewtwo for 80, Bolt Strike it a turn later, and then, there's just two. All he needs at that point is a catcher, and he wins. And there'll be nothing Ben can really do about it. So this is really Stephan's game to lose at this point. Drew has drawn a pretty bad situation hand, and now he's just feeling the results of it. So we're going to see a Plus Power come down for Stephan, and I think we're going to see a Disaster Volt for 90 rather. Yep. Disaster Volt for 90. And does Ben finally draw a supporter? Survey says probably not. But he will be able to get in there with Tyrogue at the very least. Tyro getting in there for some pretty devastating damage. And let's see if Ben rolls heads. Nope, he gets tails. So his Tyro will survive, and will Stephan have a way to just get that Mewtwo into the active spot, really. Alright, he's going to Pokegear again. And nothing but N. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for Stephan. He just needs catcher, and his deck is so small now. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if he can play the end though. That's so. Well, his opponent is only at 2 cards. He could do it. And he's just saying, yeah, all my all my lightning energy are on the field now. What up? So he's going to sleep with his own Tyrogue, wakes up, Ben stays asleep. And now Ben needs a switch. Oh man, if Ben had a switch, that'd be brutal. Oh, and he has a Juniper. So let's see. The next 7. Does Ben get a switch to maybe seal up this game? Let's see. I see a catcher. Does he have the switch though? So it looks like through a series of moves, Ben may be able to pull this game out. Yeah, there's a... No, Ben will not be able to pull this game out yet. He still has to wake... He's unable to get Tyrogue out of the active spot, it looks like. Just being extra careful here. Doesn't want to make a mistake at this point in the game. Brings up that Eelektrik, and knowing that his opponent is probably out of energy for the most part. And he does stay asleep still. So he's still forcing Stephan to have some sort of answer to this. And it's a good thing Stephan held the ends here, because those are going to be huge. And he draws a catcher too, it looks like. But he's just waiting for that Eelektrik to die, it looks like. I think his hand is like catcher N, which is pretty solid. Huh, maybe he only plays 8 lightning. So maybe I think it's worth it for Ben to just go, yeah, go attack with Thunderous, yeah. And if he has the plus power, just take a prize here. Or, oh wow, he's going to catch you again. Knock out the Thunderous, maybe. Yeah, knock out the Thunderous. With the Tyrogue. And Tyrogue could be sweeping up for the rest of the prizes. So Tyrogue damage count, 2 prizes. Let's see if it can finish out the game. We do see Mewtwo come down, catcher. And Stephan is going down to 1 prize this turn. And he will be able to end. So it's going to come down to both players going down to 1 card, and will Ben be able to draw out of it? So it all comes down to this. Who will draw out of their end? Will Ben be able to draw out of his end and, take the game? Or will Stephan just hope Ben doesn't knock out his Tyrogue on the bench? It's really just going to come down to that. Okay, so Stephan is ready to win the game next turn. But does Ben have an answer? And yes, he does. He gets a catcher. And Tyrogue gets in for 3 prizes. Wow. A pretty exciting situation for Ben. And yeah, we're off to game 2.